Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I am Rabbi Abby Phelps. I am joined here on the Bima by Cantor Toby Glauser.
Hi.
And we are so happy to welcome you to a Friday night service here at Congregation Shereth Israel. If you are at home, which you are, or out in the world somewhere, you can actually follow along in the prayer service through the online flip book that the CCAR Press provides. There should be a link to it on our Shabbat page. So if you would like to follow along, go ahead and go to the Shabbat page on our website, find that link to the flip book, and you can follow right along with us, and I'll call out all of those page numbers. As we prepare for the High Holy Days, we have this one last opportunity to come together on a Friday night to embrace and celebrate Shabbat, to welcome it into our lives, and to bring that rest and peace that it imparts into our hearts so that we can really get into the process of preparing ourselves for Monday and Tuesday next week for Rosh Hashanah. Before we get into our service, I would like to give an opportunity to a member of our Board of Trustees to greet everyone. So everyone please welcome Alan Mervis, who is going to say a few words of welcome.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I have to start off by saying it's very odd to be in this beautiful sanctuary and be the only congregant who's actually here. We have some tech people as well, obviously, who do great jobs week after week after week, but nevertheless, this is a very auspicious moment. It's the first beginning of a new month, as Rabbi Abby has pointed out. We've got the end of a year here. In addition, it's that time of year where the sun is starting to peek through the Moses window as services begin, so that confluence of lots of things going on. So I hope that you have a fantastic Shabbat, and with no further ado, take it away.
Thank you, Alan. And I want to invite everyone to really take advantage of being in your own space, whatever that space may be this evening, and just relax, get very comfortable, and really try to bring that piece of Shabbat into your body and into your heart. We're going to begin our service with Achat Sha'alti.
Yes, and as many of you know, we have been working our way through several settings of Achat Sha'alti, and this one is, I don't want to say the prettiest, but it's certainly, at the moment, very popular in Jewish communities around the world. Achat Sha'alti by Chava Mirel. It is a really beautiful setting, and one other important thing to note is Chava Mirel is, in fact, an amazing guitarist, and I am working on my guitar, so it is a challenging guitar part, and she uses fancy jazz chords, so bear with me. It is a work in progress, but it's a beautiful setting of Achat Sha'alti. Achat Sha'alti me'et Adonai. Achat Sha'alti אותה אבקש. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני. אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש. שבתי, שבתי, קורא את אדוני. שבתי, שבתי, כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם אדוני. ולבקר בהיכלו. לחזות בנועם אדוני. לחזות בנועם One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Shivti, shivti, bevet Adonai. Shivti, shivti, kol yamei chayai. Achad sha'alti me'et Adonai. Achad sha'alti ota avakesh.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us, not least because Chava Morel is also a former co-counselor of mine at a summer camp.
It is a small Jewish world.
It is a small world, and the world of Jews is even smaller. Yes, beautiful, beautiful music from Chava Morel there. We're going to light our candles now to formally begin Shabbat. We'll see how I do with the matches.
I have faith in you.
All right. Oh.
All right, you are officially ready for bat mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav betzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue our service with Lecha Dodi, our song in which we welcome the embodied figure of Shabbat into our lives for these next 25 hours.
Yes, and this is a beautiful setting we've done it the last 2 weeks by Rabbi Josh Warshawski. Let's sing Lecha Dodi. וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו בניך כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה בשבת תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך תתעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת לקבלה. We rise as we are able to greet the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת לקבלה. One time, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת לקבלה.
We invite you to remain standing as able and join us in calling one another to prayer with the Baruch Hu, which, if you are following along on the flip book, you can find on page 28.
Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai.
With the prayer Ahavat Olam, we remember that God's love for us extends throughout the universe, throughout God's creation, and throughout all of the mitzvot, all of the commandments that God has given us. These commandments are expressions of God's love because they help us understand how to live fully and well in the world and how to be God's partners in continuing and renewing the ever-present work of creation. We give thanks for these commandments, for the texts we have inherited, and for all of the expressions of God's love that we find around us with Ahavat Olam, which you can find on page 32.
Ahavat Olam, Bet Yisrael.
Still standing, please be seated and join us in the Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם כראשים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
In just a moment, we will join together for Mi Chamocha, our song recalling the freedom we experienced after the exodus from Egypt, as we looked out over the sea and over the wilderness and understood that our lives were at last truly our own. We're going to sing Mi Chamocha to the tune of the High Holiday refrain this evening to start getting into that spirit of these High Holy Days. So please join us in Mi Chamocha, which you can find on page 40.
זה אלי ואמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גר ישראל.
Given that we are all in our own spaces this evening, we all have different shelters over our heads, but the shelter that we always share is the Sukkah of Shalom, the shelter of peace that God places over us at all times. We give thanks for that shelter of peace with Hashkivenu, which you can find on page 42. Each Shabbat, we take a few moments to think of those in our community who are in need of healing, whether that be healing of mind, body, or spirit. And in order to speed healing towards them, we sing the Mishaberach prayer, which you can find on page 253. We will pause in the middle to offer some names of those in our community who are in need of healing this Shabbat. And as we offer those names, we encourage you to offer your own at home as well. Please join us on page 253.
Source of strength, who bless the
Shabbat, we wish refuah shlema, full healing, for Harav Adel bat Pnina va'Avram, Devora, Shoshana Chana Asher, Valerie Chazen Benari, Michael Enery, Jeremy Frick, Michael Gaines, Nancy Igdaloff, Adrian Christine, William Kurian, Leonid Londrarenko, Geraldo Mauricio de Nadai, Carolyn Resnikoff, Chris Romano, Agnes Rothblatt, and Annette Weiner. And to those names, we add all the names that you share at home. We continue with Mishaberach. Invite you to rise as able as we begin the Amidah, our standing prayer. I invite you to take just a moment to set your intention for your prayer this evening. Whatever it is that you most need on this Shabbat, may it be granted to you as we begin this Amidah prayer, which you can find on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Vneihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה על החיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We invite you to take a few moments for prayer. Your own silent prayers or the prayers of the prayer book will come back together with Oseh Shalom.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום עלינו, ויעל כל, ויעל כל, ויעל כל ישראל, ויעל כל, ויעל כל, ויעל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן. We ask for peace on earth, and we say amen. Ve'immeru amen, ve'immeru amen. We raise our voice as one, and we say
At this time of year, as we are preparing, as we have already mentioned, for the High Holy Days, one of the things we talk about a great deal is the process of cheshbon hanefesh, the process of taking a moral accounting of our souls, taking an honest and open look at who we are, where we have been, and where we hope to go. It's an easy thing to talk about, and it's a difficult thing to actually make time to do. So I thought this evening I would try building it directly into our service to give each one of us an opportunity to do a little bit of cheshbon hanefesh in advance of next week. I'm going to offer a guided meditation, which was written by Erica Katsky, whom I believe is a Bay Area native. I think she is affiliated with Congregation Sha'ar Zahav, but in any case, she has written a beautiful meditation that I hope will help us all to get into the spirit of this time of year. So I want to invite you to begin this process by assuming a comfortable, upright posture. If you'd like to stand, you can stand, and I would suggest that you stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, and you let your feet press evenly into the floor and your knees relax. Or if you prefer to sit, go ahead and settle into your seat, and make sure you can really feel the connection between your bottom, between yourself, and whatever it is that is supporting you. Feel free to close your eyes or just to let your gaze rest gently on something in front of you. And let your arms be loose at your sides. Your hands can rest gently in your lap or by your sides. And take a deep breath in. Taking a moment to straighten your spine from your stomach all the way up to the top of your head. Imagine that you're pulling yourself upward toward a point above your head, and breathe out, letting yourself sink more deeply into your position. Take one more deep breath in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Ground yourself in your position. Take a moment to turn your attention to your head and relax the muscles of your head and face. Now focus on your neck and your shoulders, relaxing and releasing those muscles. In these next breaths, begin to imagine roots growing from your feet or your bottom, whatever part of you is supported by the earth. Imagine those roots reaching deep into the ground below you. Imagine they anchor you and they are supporting you. Now, begin to think back through this past year. Let memories enter and exit your mind, allowing them to flow freely on their own time. Think about the small moments of the last year, the meaningful moments, the smells, the sounds, and the faces. Think back to last Elul, last year, right around this time. Where were you? Who and what were around you? What goals did you have for the coming year? What promises had you made? Move your awareness now into late September and October, the middle of fall, the Hebrew month of Tishrei. It's the time of the holiday of Sukkot and of harvesting. What kinds of benefits did you reap in this past year? Financial, educational, experiential. See if you can recall them now. Think now about last November, roughly the Hebrew month of Cheshvan. The natural world slowly moving from bountiful to barren as winter comes in so that the cycle can begin anew in the spring. Think about changes that you made to your life this past year. What patterns did you break? What new things did you take on? Move now from November into December, the Hebrew month of Kislev, the month that holds Hanukkah, the holiday of lights and miracles. In what ways were you able to bring light or goodness into the world this year? Think back to last January and February. First, the Hebrew month of Tevet and the conclusion of Hanukkah, and then the month of Shavat, with Tu B'Shvat, the festival of the trees, a time for planting. Think about new projects that you started this year. What seeds did you plant for your or your family's future? Move now from late February into March, the Hebrew month of Adar. During Adar, we celebrate Purim, a festival of fun and revelry. Think about the joys that came into your life this year. When were you silly or playful? When did you laugh? Now move from March to April, from Adar to Nisan, the month of spring. This is the time when we celebrate Pesach. We think about renewal, rebirth, newfound freedom. What struggles were you able to release from your life this year? What new freedom were you able to achieve? Now think back to last May, the Hebrew month of Iyar. In the secular year, this is a time for closings and endings. Think about endings that took place in your life this year. What issues, relationships, or situations came to a close for you during the past 12 months? Move from May into June, into the month of Sivan, the month that holds the holiday of Shavuot, when we celebrate receiving the Torah. Think about learning you did during this past year. What new things did you learn, and what effect did they have on you? Now move from June into July and August, through the Hebrew months of Tammuz and Av. In the Hebrew calendar, these months are a time to think about history and loss. Think about losses that occurred in your life in the past year. In what ways did you grieve? Now, return to the present, here on the precipice of a new year. Having looked back on the richness of the past year, all its challenges and triumphs, what are you grateful to be holding on to bring forward into this new year? What are your goals? What promises do you want to make? Slowly, holding your memories of the past and your wishes for the new year in mind, bring yourself back into this present moment. You could gently move your hands, your feet, your eyes. Come back into community with us. As we prepare to enter into this new year of 5782, I encourage you to remember your experience in this meditation and to be mindful of all the ways you and your life have changed in the past year and all the ways you hope to change in the year to come. As we think about those joyous parts of our lives that we are grateful to carry forward into the new year, I know that many of us have simchas to celebrate in our community, some great, some small. I understand that the Auerbachs recently had a 30-year anniversary, so that's an exciting thing that is being celebrated, I imagine. I imagine that there are many other wonderful simchas taking place. I know that there are folks headed off to college, folks starting out new endeavors of all sorts. So whatever joyous things are occurring in your life, we invite you to think of them at this time and to celebrate them with the Shehechianu prayer, giving thanks for arriving at this very moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu la'azman hazeh.
We invite you now to rise as able and to join us in the Aleinu prayer, the prayer in which we remember that it is our obligation to create the world we wish to see. You can find the Aleinu on page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet grula liyotzeh bereishit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהן, וגורלנו ככל המונה. משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
You may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and every nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. On this Shabbat, we remember for Shloshim, for the first 30 days of mourning, Judy Migdale and Stuart Seiler. The perpetual memorials in our community are Dr. Elliot Eisenberg, Leon Mervis, Harold Weiss, and Joanne May Weiss. And on this Shabbat, we also observe the following yahrzeits, anniversaries of death. We remember Sandra Wall Amenta, Janet Barnett, Jacqueline Ben Eliezer, George Berman, Irina Borokovich, Helen Chambers, Annette Kogan, Henry G. Donner, Mildred Molly Einbund, Keith Goldfarb, Belle W. Harris, Patricia Wall Lappin, Michael Rantz, Ruth Robbins, David Wexler, and Ethel Covton Wilbur. And in addition to those names, please feel free to say aloud the names of any loved ones whom you are remembering this Shabbat. And please rise with us as a community as we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal. Shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all those who mourn. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Well, the main thing we need to announce this evening is Rosh Hashanah is coming on Monday.
What?
I know.
Who knew? Yeah.
So we hope you're planning to join us Monday evening, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon for Tashlich, which will be in person in Chrissy Field. Please look at all of the many communications we've sent for the precise times and all the ways to access these programs. Of course, we also have a program coming up before Rosh Hashanah. We have a program tomorrow evening, a Slichot observance, which will include some music and also a text study portion that will be on Zoom. Anything you want to tell us about that? Or?
I just know that there may have been some confusion. There are going to be two links.
Yes.
So the YouTube Live is going to be a regular stream just like this evening, and then we will have a Zoom link either below that or on the website. So at 7:30, you will escort yourselves to the Zoom room to join Rabbi Phelps for a text study. Indeed.
So please come to both of those observances and events if you can. And we will, of course, have Torah study tomorrow morning at 9:15, also on Zoom. And one more thing I want to make sure to mention, in addition to Rosh Hashanah and, of course, Yom Kippur, which is coming up, 10 days thereafter. In the Shabbat in between, so a week from tomorrow, on that Saturday, we will be meeting up in the morning on the Tennessee Valley Trailhead and going for a sort of spiritual, family-oriented hike. So if you have kids and you've been trying to figure out how to celebrate the new year with them, this is the place to bring them. Please bring them up to Marin to join us, with, of course, at least one parent or guardian. And also, folks of all ages are welcome. So feel free to join us for that event as well. Is there anything else you can think of that we should announce? Flip books, I guess.
Yes.
Please note that for the High Holy Days, just as we had this evening a link on our website to a flip book where you could follow along in the service, we will have those links also for the High Holy Days. Basically, if you go to our High Holy Day page, you'll see that there's a link to a flip book that is a free copy that you can access online of the Machzor of the High Holy Day prayer book, and you can use that to follow along with us during the services. Anything else?
We're going to get very technical with the flip book.
Please.
Do give yourself a little bit of time to orient yourself to the flip book. Look for the icon with the 4 small squares at the bottom, and it'll let you kind of choose which page you want to go to, so you're not flipping constantly from one page to the other. Take some time to work through the app. The Machzorim are also available on Kindle, and you can also still purchase hard copies if you would like to. One other thing, we are going to have a members lounge on Zoom before each service. So a half hour before services, members of Congregation Shereth Israel, please look for a link in our main links page. There will be a Zoom room half an hour before every service for you to schmooze and greet each other and say Shana Tova for each of our services, both for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Absolutely. Well, as you can see, we have a great deal going on. We hope we'll see you for some of these events. I also just want to take a moment to thank everybody who has made this service the beautiful and accessible program that it has been. So thank you, Jonathan Dimmick, whom you've been unable to see, but our music director, Jonathan Dimmick, is up in the organ making beautiful music for us.
High, yes.
Indeed. So thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Zach Migdale. Thank you, Asaf, for being here to make all of the sound and the video work properly. And we hope that we will see you soon for all of these celebrations. So we're going to conclude our service now, beginning with Kiddush, which you can find on page 5.
Yes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
L'chaim.
I've been told that my new face mask looks like an elephant seal. So let me know if you see the resemblance. That was from Corey, our events manager.
You've got to lounge more horizontally on something, and then
Exactly.
you'll really, there we go. So could you hold up our challah for a second?
That's a plan too, yeah.
Yeah, please. If you have a challah at home, please hold it up, and we're going to go ahead and recite the motzi over our chalot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון.
Te'avon, enjoy.
Yes.
We're going to conclude our service with a prayer that is traditional for this time of year, the prayer Hashivenu, which we ask God to return us to God. It's a time for returning to our truest selves, for returning to our loved ones, for returning to God. So please join us in Hashivenu, and then come and join us in continuing this process of returning during the High Holy Days.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.